Nice and uplifting to start your Sunday morning, 10 minutes past 8. It's John here with the Sunday morning breakfast programme live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Now, research by BBC Local Radio suggests it's becoming harder to recruit new bell ringers. Here in Suffolk, we've more ringers than we've had 10 years ago, but the average age is getting older, giving some worries for the future. In a moment, we'll talk to Ralph Erie, who's the tower captain at All Saints Church at Sproughton and chairman of the South East District for the Suffolk Guild of Ringers, and Joe Lavington, who's 14 and has been ringing for 2 years. But let's hear some of them in action. We have Colin and we have George, who are going to give us a quick burst. Take it away, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. That's Colin Salter and George Vant on the handbells in the studio. We couldn't bring a full set of church bells in, could we, Ralph?
Not easily.
Thank you for coming in, and welcome Joe Lavington as well, 14 years old. Ralph, first of all, give me a picture of what the picture is like here in Suffolk. So we have more people, but I guess they're of a more mature years.
Yeah, the age profile is increasing. Obviously, retired age people tend to have a bit more time on their hands, and we welcome those members and value those members. But the number of younger people taking up the hobby is low, and we want to encourage more younger people.
I mean, overall, you've got 749 members of the Suffolk Guild of Ringers at the moment. I guess when you start to spread that out amongst all of the churches and towers that there are, I mean, presumably there are some towers which have bells but no ringers.
Yeah, there's lots of towers that have bells and no ringers. So in Suffolk, we've got 256 rings of bells that can be rung full circle. 204 of those are what we call in a ringable condition. And if you do the maths, you know, we haven't got enough ringers to man all of those towers.
So, Joe, why did you start, and how have you found it?
I started when there was an open day, and I really enjoyed it, so I carried on going.
So you went along, and you thought, okay, well, we'll have a go at this. What describe what it feels like to do it, because it is actually quite skilled and quite technical, but also quite hard work.
Yeah, but it's really fun, and you learn different tunes. No songs.
So when do you ring? How often do you ring?
I ring most Wednesdays.
And how much time does that take up?
2 hours.
Okay, so it's quite a commitment for a young person, but you can fit it in amongst the other busy things that you've got. Would you like to see more young people? I mean, what's it like? Is it people of Ralph's age here?
Yeah, I think it's young people would enjoy it lots.
What do your friends say when you say you're going off ringing?
They think it's unusual, but they think it's quite cool that someone my age can do that.
I think it's quite cool. I guess that's the message you want to put out there, Ralph. It is quite cool, however old you are. But
yeah, I think it's great to hear that it is cool. It is an unbelievable opportunity to take part in something that's been part of our heritage for years and years. We've got bells in Ipswich here which were made in 1440. Yeah, so 576 years ago. I've got a bell at Sproughton which was cast in 1550, 466 years. Joe and I have the privilege of ringing on that bell every week, and it works just as well now as it did 466 years ago.
I mean, that's an interesting point. In the age where every piece of technology and anything new is designed to be obsolete within a year, 2 years, so it can be replaced, to have something that's performing its function just as well as when it was originally made 500 years ago, I mean, that's quite incredible.
It is quite incredible, and the bells at St Lawrence's in Ipswich were around when Thomas Wolsey was a boy. It is unbelievable. But it's not just about the hardware and the kit that we're using. We're fortunate enough to be able to play with, but it's the social environment. It's the social aspect that is very important too. Hence, we all know each other. We're part of a guild of ringers, and we organise various events for the young ringers across Suffolk.
Joe, I mean, do you feel that? Do you feel that connection to the history and being the front line of something that has gone back so far?
Yeah, like you make loads of new friends, and it's quite exciting that you're ringing quite old bells.
I mean, I was in the Abbey Gardens in Bury St Edmunds. We heard earlier on from a historian who's written a book about the rise and fall of the Abbey 1,000 years ago. And those stones, you know, you put your hand on them when you're walking around and playing, and how many people have put their hands on those stones through all of those centuries? The same is true of the bells.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think we're very fortunate to have that mix of something that is current and can be described as cool, and something that is very, very historical.
How important is it to the spiritual life of the church, to people's faith? Because this is a part of the wider act of worship.
Yeah, bell ringing is something that's both a secular hobby interest, which we all enjoy, the aspect of going out together. We us guys were out yesterday in Norfolk visiting various towers, fantastic day out. But also our main commitment is on Sunday mornings. All of us are going off to St Mary le Tower to call people to worship on a Sunday morning, same at Sproughton at 10:30 this morning. And that's very important. It's a really strong advert for the church, that people are actively worshipping, and people in the community understand what's happening and why and when it's happening.
Yeah, and even if they're not going to go to church themselves, the church sounds like it's alive,
and it's happening, and it's happening at that point in time.
So next weekend, it's the Heritage Open weekend, so there'll be lots of towers who will be ringing as part of that, lots of churches, lots of historic buildings open across Suffolk for people to go and explore. There's 14 towers open at some time over from the 8th to the 11th of September. So we've got Great Barton, Pakenham, the Norman Tower in Bury St Edmunds, Long Melford, Sproughton, Debenham, Pettistree, Woodbridge, Rattlesden, Framlingham, Acton, Sudbury, St Gregory, Bardwell and St Margaret's in Ipswich. And as you say, Joe, this was an opportunity for you to get involved, and that sparked your interest. So you would encourage people to go along and have a look and have a try.
Yeah.
It's hard work, though, isn't it?
No, it's good exercise.
It's good exercise. That's a better way of phrasing it.
It's not hard work. It's good exercise.
Let's have some more from those beautiful handbells in the background. So we have Colin and George, been ringing for 5 and 6 years, respectively. It sounds beautiful, but the concentration, I envy you for someone who can barely bash out a couple of chords on the guitar at various degrees of rhythm. This is lovely stuff. So let's have another round, please, boys. A round of applause. Thank you very much, guys. And so if you want to find out more about what's happening, the Guild of Ringers Suffolk website is a nice place to start. Or you can turn up to one of the Heritage Open weekends coming from the 8th through until the 11th. Thank you all very much for your time. This is BBC Radio Suffolk. We're going to be exploring